Come on, Soda Pop, let's go.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Dan Lettler, Executive Director at the Sioux Falls Regional Airport. And just like to take this opportunity, I understand agenda item number 30 is the first reading for a potential ordinance for the city of Sioux Falls. I'd just like to offer my comments or the airport's opinion on that proposed ordinance at this time. First of all, I'd like to just comment, the airport's a huge proponent and supporter of economic development in Sioux Falls. Slater Barr and his group do an outstanding job in promoting Sioux Falls, getting businesses to come to Sioux Falls. I think they do a super job. The airport itself has been a huge contributor to Forward Sioux Falls, one of the largest contributors to that effort. So we're fully supportive of economic developments in Sioux Falls. However, we do have some concerns with this proposed ordinance and the revenue that would be generated by that ordinance. You know, the proposed $3 per day transaction tax on rental cars, it would have an impact on revenue. Rental car concession revenue is the third largest revenue source for the airport. So even though it's $3 a day, it will have an impact on revenue. So it's certainly a concern for us going forward, how that impacts the revenue that's generated from that for the airport and our ability to fund the operations out there. Secondly, if this were adopted, it's $3 a day. It seems like a simple thing, but we have purposely not implemented a customer facility charge ourselves. One, because we don't have a specific need for it yet. And so it's one of those potential revenue sources that we've kept on the shelf until we do have a purpose for it. But as we go down the road, whether we're trying to look to improve the rental car facilities themselves or even a potential parking garage, we would want to impose our own fee, customer facility charge, to help generate some of that revenue to pay for that facility. So if there's already a $3 fee imposed plus our fee, now $6 a day, that is going to impact people's decision making. As you see Uber and Lyft come to town and people have options for getting from point A to point B, people may not rent that car in Sioux Falls. So certainly our ability to generate revenue ourselves is a concern. I know Dale's going to speak and outlines 20 out of 23 regional cities have a similar fee. What he's referring to is a customer facility charge, and those are fees collected only for airport infrastructure, not for any other uses. So I think it's an important distinction to understand is, yes, there are 20 out of 23 other cities that have this fee. We don't. We've chosen not to implement it until we have a purpose for it. So that I think is an important distinction to clarify. And then the last point I'll make here, because I'm probably running out of time, is just we're concerned about the legality of one municipality, the city of Sioux Falls, being able to impose a tax on revenue generated from another government state statute agency, which is the Airport Authority. So we're really concerned about if that's been thoroughly researched to see if that's even an option to impose such a fee. So I know you have other rental car folks here that are willing to speak on how it impacts their business, but just want to make sure that you folks knew that we do have some concerns about this as we move forward, and we will thoroughly research it from our side as well. So thank you.
Dan, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is John Mathias, and I'm a resident of Sioux Falls. I want to address an item on tonight's agenda, which will have a first reading, that being a proposal to amend our Code of City Ordinances as it pertains to our City Council. More specifically, I'm concerned about the portion of this amendment that will change the deadline for the City Clerk's office to post upcoming City Council meeting agendas. Our current Code of Ordinances specifies this deadline for posting council meeting agendas as the close of business on Friday, preceding any meeting to take place the following Tuesday. Such a deadline was likely considered to be reasonable and prudent by past municipal officials who drafted the ordinance in its present form. It would appear the amendment to change this deadline to, at best, just the day before a given Tuesday council meeting is for the convenience of municipal employees and/or elected officials. In the absence of other information, it would appear the justification for this change is the current Friday deadline has come to be regarded as problematic, inconvenient, or onerous. I suggest a different solution to this problem should be sought. As the council considers this amendment, I hope considerable weight will be given to what I feel should be a guiding principle for municipal employees and elected officials, that being what is best for the citizens of Sioux Falls. What is best for citizens may not be the easiest or most expeditious method of approach for City Hall. However, going to whatever lengths necessary to avoid the appearance of impropriety in government is a goal worthy of honoring and preserving. Maintaining the opportunity for concerned citizens to have a matter of days rather than mere hours to review an upcoming City Council meeting agenda is a worthwhile procedure to perpetuate transparency in municipal government. Please don't constrict or reduce the options for people to participate in their city government. A deadline change like this only has a downsize for citizens, as it will further limit the available time in their personal and professional lives for them to consider and plan making their voices heard before agenda items are discussed or voted upon. Thank you.
John, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Kendall Zoller, and I work for Enterprise RentACar here in town.
Welcome.
I just want to give you a brief overview. I've lived in Sioux Falls for about 15 years. I have 60 full and part-time employees that work here in Sioux Falls. I actually oversee the airport location, Enterprise National and Alamo, and I also oversee the other two locations not at the airport here located in Sioux Falls. Some of the numbers I want to give so we're clear, because I think there's a mix-up of some of the numbers that were given and talked about this evening, is all of the numbers presented were just from airport revenue. They weren't drawn from those other home city resources, shall we say. So 45% of the rental transactions given are just from those two locations outside of the airport. That is about 16,000 rental tickets. It's a lot of rentals, which that equivalates to about 100,008 rental days, times $3 per day. That is 325,560. That is revenue that is coming from local business. And local business, kind of just to give you an overview, is an insurance replacement. Your car is in the shop and a insurance company is going to provide you a rental car because somebody has hit you. A dealership rentals. Your car's broken mechanically and you need a car. It's always very convenient. Body shop replacement. It's kind of a segment off insurance replacement, but maybe the body shop or yourself are going to pay for that rental. Also, corporate rentals. We have a lot of businesses here in Sioux Falls, small and large, that have to travel. So they use a rental car because it's cheaper to rent a car to go than a mileage reimbursement. It helps their cost expenditures. And also retail. People want to drive to Minneapolis or to Rapid City or to Omaha, and maybe they have an F-250 and that's too much. They don't want to spend the gas, and all they need is a, Ford Focus. There's other, or a large family wants a larger vehicle to travel. So all of that constitutes as a local rental. Not only the airline rentals that we see, there's a lot of companies that are here locally that have people fly in. So they're actually being paid for by our local companies, not just large companies coming in to see Sioux Falls, but actually doing business here with those companies. And the families that fly in here. Sioux Falls, unfortunately, is not a destination city, and they're here to see their family, and they lived here at one time, and they're coming back to revisit. A couple things I just wanted to clarify as well is the local rentals do not represent about 45%, or they represent 45%, not 20%. The fees referred to, like Dan said at the airport, that Rapid City and Des Moines and Omaha has, those are consolidated facility fees. They're fees to better the facility the customers are using with a purpose, not just a fee for a different facility or purpose that they wouldn't take advantage of. We had a request from Karen Rulin to obtain our rental information on the 12th of this month. And some of the figures that were, we hadn't had a chance to respond, and some of the figures that were given without a response from us. So that was concerning that the 20% of rentals are local, that didn't come from us. And about a year ago, we did meet with Slater and Dale, who spoke here this evening, and they wanted to discuss this fee. And we were open to that because we truly, I'm a local resident. I do business here. I live here. And we wanted to discuss the fee because we do want in Sioux Falls to improve. We support that growth and development, absolutely. And we offered to partner them with some help with some economic growth, but we don't feel that it should be one-sided toward just one industry. That isn't fair. And after our initial meeting, we had never heard from them again. So in conclusion, I appreciate your time, and if you have any questions, feel free. I'd love to talk to you. Thank you.
Kendall, thank you very much for your comments. We appreciate it. Folks, anybody else? Welcome.
Can I have this put up on the overhead, please? Thank you. Good evening. My name is Liz Meilenberg. I have lived in Sioux Falls since 1974 and taught music in the Sioux Falls school system. My students performed numerous patriotic programs and sang from the depths of their heart, honoring American values and expressing pride and belief that we are a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Parents and students alike enthusiastically applauded and embraced these three phrases in our many terrific concerts over the 21 years that I taught in Sioux Falls. So what does this have to do with tonight's agenda? I refer you to item number 23 before the council. The administration is planning to change the posting date of council agendas to only 24 hours prior to the Tuesday meetings, whereas our current ordinance requires posting by the close of business on Friday. The problem with this proposed change is the intentionally shortened and limited time element. The close of business on Monday gives the administration the ability to slip items onto the meeting agenda with very little public notice as to planned legislation. It greatly reduces the public's access time to research and organize a response either in support or against the proposed legislation. Furthermore, I suggest this proposal of change gives you as counselors precious little time to research needed additional information before making a wise vote as you represent Sioux Falls citizens. Secondly, my expectation of a wise vote from my representative is to always research both sides of every issue. It is not acceptable to embrace, regurgitate, and rubber stamp the administration's point of view. Examine each proposal using outside reliable sources before making the right choice for citizens. So I say to you, does this administrative proposal and change make you want to shout, hooray, we are a wonderful example of a working government of the people, by the people, and for the people? Or is it an attempt to control input and greatly reduce the public's interaction and effectiveness in their own government? How about you, Mr. Kiley? You taught impressionable high school youth. Do you stand on America's principles and support a citizen active government? And you, Mr. Aralfing, your honorable and beloved son, gave his life in service to our country in the belief and hope that our government of the people, by the people, and for the people should not perish from this earth. And Mr. Staggers, we thank and applaud you that these concepts, as stated by Abraham Lincoln, are the heart of the curriculum content you teach at USF. So I ask each and every one of you, as you represent your voters, do you support and encourage a citizen involved in government, one of the people, by the people, and for the people? Or will these prized concepts of freedom that we teach our children to embrace become a manipulated, twisted, partial non-truth in Sioux Falls, therefore enabling of overly strong top-down governmental ruling class, such as one of the administration, by the administration, and for the administration? Regarding the latter choice, any elected official who attempts to silence and reduce the public's voice would do well to revisit the sacrifices of Abraham Lincoln. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Appreciate that. Yeah, welcome.
Greg Neitzer, Sioux Falls. I originally wasn't going to speak about this, but I've been studying it over the weekend, and I won't repeat things that other people have said. I'll just try to hone in on one little thing I wanted to talk about. So again, the agenda ordinance. So in looking at it, it looks like in looking at old ordinances, in 2011, we added most of this, and then in 2012, we tweaked it a little bit, mostly for the day of the week. And now we're proposing to delete a lot of the text we added in 11. And I would say, as a public citizen and those of us who care about city government, the vast majority of this is really minutia that happens internally. How the magic happens, I don't think is really a big deal. So I think deleting most of this is really not a big problem. How the city clerk gets their magic done, that's for them to do and the council to work out, and you have procedures that you can work out. I think the only thing that really, really matters is what I've circled. And now at the informational meeting, Lori Hogstead had stated that they wouldn't change what the procedure is now. We would keep publishing on Friday. And that's good to hear. But if we take this part out in the code, there's nothing legally that says that we can't start slipping for whatever reason onto a Monday or whatever. So if we're going to continue the Fridays, which we need to do, that's 96 hours notice. And that's not just for the public, that's also for the press. I mean, they get these agendas too, and that gives them a chance to do a story. So I would just propose, let's just put this piece back in. We said it's been stated that that's what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to live by. So let's just keep it in code. If we take that part out, then we just follow state law, which is 24 hours, which I would submit we should be very proud of what we have now. And just having the minimum is not something we should shoot for. We should set an example, and we should be transparent, and we should just add that part right back in and just keep, and then we'll know that we're legally required to get it posted. Now, when all the directors get everything to the clerk, they can work all that out. And the other thing I would say about if things come up, there are emergency procedures. In fact, farther down in the ordinance, there's emergency procedures in place, and there's also special meetings, which we can call to take care of something that's very urgent. So I think this problem can be fixed. Let's just put that clause back in. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate that. Welcome, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman, my name is Dwayne Reggie. I moved to Sioux Falls 15 years ago from a farm by Canastota. I was shocked to see the other day signs on the road that formerly led to Powerhouse Road and now has the words Veterans Parkway. I am a veteran of World War II. I am so proud of veterans, and you should be the same. And somehow or other you saw fit to let that be changed. We have a beautiful place for people to go by Russell Road there, we could put some kind of a road leading to there. And I don't know how many people remember that there was a Army base here, and they tell me there was at one time 32,000 people there. They married a lot of girls here in Sioux Falls. They came back. They did the Bill of Rights. They went to college. And the Sioux Falls thrived because of them. I cannot stand to listen to people say that you have to forget about what veterans did. I could make your blood curdle. I went to Washington, D.C. on the honor flight. I won't even tell you the stories I heard. Tears ran down people's face, and now here we are. We can't give them what they deserve. I'm going to keep this short. I could go on the things. And how many times have people here ever gone to the Veterans Hospital, and you humble yourself when you see what's happening to these people. And it's a continual thing. And I know that you've already passed on this. You had one vote. And I thank that person for that vote to our favor. If you don't act on this to change this and change that sign and get something marked there for the veterans and a road there, it's a wonderful place to go and sit and think and talk and identify it better. And anyway, I'm going to keep this rather short. I'm really sold on this. I'm just about 90 years old. When I lived out there, that's when the powerhouse blew up, and Powder House, and now you've taken that away from the people that are historians. So they want that back, and they're ready. There have been circulating petitions, and if you can't see your way to rectify this, I will work with them, and we will get petitions, and we will be back. Thank you.
Dwayne, thank you very much as well, sir, and thank you for your service. We appreciate that. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome.
My name is Michael Weiland. I'm a resident of Sioux Falls. And I'm speaking about item number 30, the proposed rental car fee. And I'm not as concerned about whether or not the fee is approved as I am about how it should be administered, should it be approved. My firm had the opportunity to work with the Visitor Industry Ad Hoc Committee the last few months, and it was a very instructive process. And one of the things that I walked away with based on the public testimony and the experience was the importance that any tax dollars that are collected for a targeted purpose and turned over to one or more nonprofit organizations in the community should be accompanied by a specific contract or agreement. And that the contract or agreement should set specific performance, specific strategy, specific accountability, and specific enforcement in order to be effective. I notice in the case of the rental car proposal that the proposed language does not include any particular nonprofit organization being the beneficiary. And since there is no sunsetting provision in the fee, it can be assumed that once the development park on the north end of town, which has been talked about as being one of the key reasons for having that fee, once that park is completed, that there might be other options or other opportunities for that fee to be used. I encourage you in your fiduciary duty and a public trust to demand accountability and to demand strategy from the people with whom this city partners to further economic development in Sioux Falls, and to have a formal structure. As my wife and partner, Margaret Sumption, loves to say, you make rules when everybody is happy, so you have them when everybody isn't happy. We have an opportunity now to move forward and think proactively about what structure we want to establish for the use of this money should the voters of Sioux Falls decide to approve its collection.
Thank you.
Michael, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Welcome.
My name is David Zokaitis. I was here a couple of weeks ago talking about civil rights, and I'm back at it because I haven't quite finished the last discourse. A couple of weeks ago, I wrote a letter supposedly to a captain on the police force, but really it's to everybody because it affects everybody here in Sioux Falls and even in the nation at large. 2 weeks ago, I talked about having the right to record police activity and how that right is thwarted frequently by police and by the police administration, which makes it much more of a problem. Anyway, so 2 weeks ago, I read half of my letter. So today, here comes the other half. I hope you're ready. Last fall, I was illegally detained by 4 antagonistic police officers who put me in fear of my destruction. What a heck of a way to get going. In violation of Terry versus Ohio, these 4 officers detained me without suspicion of criminal activity. Deprivation of liberty is a crime. Additionally, they prompted me to fear imminent bodily harm. In other words, these 4 police officers assaulted me. They tried to set me up so that they would have an excuse to pummel me half to death. I was standing with my back to the car, nowhere to go, trying hard to keep my composure, when one of the officers reached out to grab my arm. If I had reacted physically and panicked, I probably would have been attacked physically and then attacked legally. That's an important phrase, attacked physically and legally. Typically, when police attack citizens, police claim they acted in self-defense and then arrest their victim and charge the victim with initiating violence. Prosecution for a fabricated charge of resisting arrest or assault frequently follows police abuse. All right, and here's the part that's mostly to the captain I wrote to. It appears to be your job to defend anything that police do to citizens. If you can defend violation of civil rights, it shouldn't be very challenging to defend assault. Considering how the local police dealt with that other complaint, I haven't even bothered to lodge a complaint of assault with the Sioux Falls Police Department. Nonetheless, I did recommend to the chief that he maintain a personal copy of all records relating to this incident. It's hard for anyone to conduct a meaningful investigation if evidence has been destroyed. All right, and another kind of personal note to this guy, I've talked to him before. To provide a bit of political context, it appears to be your job to perpetrate injustice and defend civil rights violations. But in doing so, you help to destroy your own freedoms. Too few people realize that most people who violate rights are both victim and perpetrator of injustice. I don't know what you value more. Now, this one's really to everybody. I don't know what you value more, your freedom and economic opportunity, or the official position of police near infallibility. I encourage you to ponder the current political environment and your place in it. And that's what I wrote to the captain. I hope he thinks hard on that last particular point. I have a copy of this letter. Would somebody like to get it? Maybe the city clerk over there, can they give a copy? Oh, you want to grab it?
David, are you done? I'm done, thank you. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Welcome.
Tim Stanga, Sioux Falls. Wow, what a meeting. Haven't seen one of these for so long. Didn't know that the rental car was going to be talked about, but I guess you impose a tax. You can't take a tax away. I've never seen one taken away. Property tax is never ever going to go down. It's always going to go up. The people that are gonna rent these cars are one, middle-class families or under middle class. It isn't just always rich people that rent rental cars. Me and my daughter rented one, went to North Carolina because one, we didn't want to put the mileage on our car. So then you're putting a tax on us just because of what we wanted to do versus drive our own vehicle. Two, I want the public and everybody to realize that this city council wanted to take public testimony and put it at the end of every meeting because they want to limit input from people like you. And they want you to be quiet. They don't want you to know ahead of time what is going to be talked about in the city council meetings. The other agenda, I've talked to a lot of people within the last week. Why is it that people aren't stepping up and running for city council? It's really a no-brainer. I always tell you guys, you're being watched on TV by people. And the way you act in front of not only people giving testimony, but Kermit, when he objects on something, and you guys treat him the way you do. Why would somebody want to run for city council and have to be put through what Kermit has put through a lot of times? But then again, when public testimony is done, or when people are up here doing public testimony, you guys treat us the same way. Especially when we walk away. We can hear the snarl, we can hear the comments from a few of the city council members. Not all of them, but a few of them. Why would somebody want to run for city council? For one, to stand up for people that can't come up here and talk for themselves, people that are struggling day to day to try to make ends meet. I talk to my neighbors all the time. When it comes to the 20th, they have no money in their accounts. These are elderly people. But every time you guys decide to raise property tax, these people suffer. Because why? Because their rent goes up. You guys raise water bill and you raise the sewage bill. These people have to pay for that. So I tell everybody, from October to February, use as less water as you can. Your sewer is off your water bill during your winter months. You want to save some money? That's what you have to do. Shouldn't have to play that game. Why don't people want to run for city council? Because if no is in your agenda, you better not run. If your agenda doesn't fit with what's going on in the city or the people that are on the city council, if they don't fit their agenda, you can't run. Because why? Kermit, I think you can answer that question for me. Don't worry, the person that runs against you, or if you do run, we will find somebody to run against you. That person will have a boatload of money behind them because of one reason. We have an agenda in this town and we have to follow it. Everything is politically motivated. What is done in city council, it's just a stepping stone on where we want to go from here. Whether we want to be mayor, whether we want to be governor, whether we want to run for representative or for the Senate. It's just a stepping stone. To me, city council shouldn't be a stepping stone. It's wrong. We're here for the people. We're here for every voter in this town. And every voter is not being heard because there's people that are suffering in this town, and every single one of them people are not being heard.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome.
Bruce Danielson. I had another talk planned tonight, but I was listening yesterday to a meeting and some interviews that were done and put on television, and it made me think of something else. So I'm just going to read it. 75 years ago, the United States was involved in a great war destroying the belief in efficient governments. The world's messiest democracy changed world history. Who was that messy democracy? Ours. We Americans take pride in running a country not designed to be efficient, but open to the public. Our forefathers brought forth a process forced to create leaders, because leaders have to lead and not hide from their voters. Counselors are here to represent us and to protect our rights. It is a fundamental right of your constituents to know what you are doing here. We have a right to know what is being discussed here and be encouraged for the participation in the discussions. There are members here who tire of our attempts to follow the chamber's work. Most of us do not care if you tire. You wanted this job, and now you have it. Be leaders, but know we care. And we will continue to be here because we care. We will continue to bring our work, your work, to the public. We will also press on with everything we learn. We learned accidentally of last week's executive session. It was a marketing meeting for the rental car tax before you tonight. There are a few things wrong with this. First off, it broke SDCL 1-25-2 Part 3. It was not litigation, it was not a personnel matter, and it was not a contractual matter. It was a discussion of how to do a public vote, and please tell us if we're wrong. Second, the change to our public access is set in ordinance, is necessary for an informed public. Tonight's agenda was not properly posted. It really should have been posted on Thursday because Monday was a holiday. I am the reason last year's special meeting that was held at the regular time using the regular agenda. And I'm very proud that I did that. This is an end around tonight in getting started to get you to do your homework. Why can't you get your homework done if it's Friday? What difference does it make if it's Tuesday? There are processes in the system that allow you to make, if something important comes up, you can still declare a special meeting to follow the regular agenda, and you can hold a special meeting. There are communities that do it that way. So now it's time for you to fix the process. Greg was right. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that you never let us know. We don't know about your emails. We don't know about your discussions. There's a lot of private things that happen between the groups of you we never hear about. There is one thing that we need in order to help you people run this town, because it takes citizen involvement to run this town. It isn't just having a mayor. It isn't just having a council member run a committee. It isn't just a parks department head doing this, or a public works director. It takes all of us, because today we were in a meeting involved with talking about the right-of-way ordinance. And I think the community has banded together and helped Mr. Kiley do a job here. And we're very happy to do that. But we must have the ability to see what's going on in the meetings. I don't care about efficiency. I don't care. I have worked for years doing ergonomic studies and efficiency studies. And what you're telling me here is that what Mussolini, Hitler, and Stalin, and Tojo, et cetera, were all trying to do 75 years ago was the right way, efficiency in government. No, we have a messy democracy, and I'm very, very proud of our messy democracy. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate that.
Y'all come back now. Cheers.